This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at Barnes & Noble's latest ebook reader. This is the Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight. So for those of you who like e-ink displays for their clarity, easiness on the eyes, all that kind of thing, but you're getting tired of using book lights or turning on all the lights in the room just to read, well, this one's for you. It has LED lighting that illuminates the screen in a pleasing and even way without creating glare or eye strain. We're going to take a look at it now. The new GlowLight Nook Simple Touch looks exactly like the regular old Nook Simple Touch. We're going to show you the difference between the two in a minute, which means pretty much nothing except for the trim ring over here. But the neat thing about it is it has a light source. There are LED lights right along the top edge there, and there's a diffuser over the screen that makes the light illuminate pretty evenly. You can see a little bit of light, brighter light up at the top here, but other than that, you're really not going to notice it. Probably won't be bothered by it at all, and much better than early e-reader attempts at giving you some kind of lighting for the screen. The Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight on the right sells for $139 versus $99 for the Nook Simple Touch. Now the GlowLight is actually a form of edge lighting or side lighting, since the light illuminates from one edge and shoots down. So it's not really backlighting. There's no lights behind the screen, the kind of thing that might tire out your eyes. So for those of you who are allergic to LCDs, you don't like reading on them because of the backlighting pulsing, that kind of thing, that's not what's going on here. It's a side light thing with a diffuser on top that makes the light spread evenly, and it's very, 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 very thin diffuser, so you're not going to see it. It's not going to be like that murky Sony reader from a couple of years ago where they had a layer on top that made it actually difficult to read text. Put them together now, you can see, well, otherwise they really are identical. You got the same casing here. The only difference is we have the black ring on the edge of the regular Nook Touch, and we have the silver ring on the Nook Simple Touch. In terms of screen clarity, I think you can see that they're almost identical. The blacks are a little bit blacker on the one that doesn't have the glow light feature. Probably that's a result of what they call screen protector. Really, it's not so much a screen protector. Again, it's a light diffuser, but it's really, really mild. I'm very picky about that when it comes to e-ink displays. I use an e-ink display because I really want that clarity, that lack of glare, and I don't want the LCD backlighting tiring out my eyes. And I like a lot of contrast, so even though there's a teeny bit less on the glow model, it's worth it to have the light. Now, to show you the difference more clearly, before we actually had the glow light turned on, it's a slider, and we'll show you how that works in a minute, and we had it turned on at about 40% or so. And the nice thing about it is if you're in a somewhat lit room, not complete darkness where a light is going to be obvious, if you find the sweet spot, you really won't notice any light glowing from the screen at all. It'll just become sharper and clearer. But now the backlight, the LED lighting rather, is turned off on the Nook Glow, and you can see that they are very, very close to identical. Probably if you handed them to the average person, they really wouldn't be able to tell which was which just by looking at the screen. So we're talking about that minuscule difference in contrast between these two models. Again, they're identical. You look at the back on both of these, you got the same rubbery, kind of wide, fatty look design here. Battery is sealed inside both of these, and they both have a micro SD card slot. And your micro SD card slot is right here on the side. A little rubber door covers it up, and that's also where you'll find your serial number on the unit. On the bottom here we have a micro USB port. That's so you can transfer books and anything else that you want, PDFs. If you have EPUB books without DRM, if you have EPUB books with DRM, just standard EPUB DRM, they work with this, and you can just transfer them onto the device. The USB cable is included, so is a charger. Unlike the regular Nook Simple Touch, the GlowLight version does come with a charger. The good news, that doesn't mean it's indicating bad battery life. That LED light really uses relatively very little power. And I would estimate so far, for the amount that I've been using this reading for an hour a day with the backlight on, based on my usage, I could almost go a month reading with the backlight on. Now, I don't have the backlight set all the way up. If you want to get your backlight going, you just press the Nook button down here and hit the glow light control, and here you turn it on, and then there's a slider, and I've been using it about like that. Given my ambient light situation, that works for me. So that battery life is based on the LED light being on all the time, but at that level. Of course, you can go all the way to maximum, and we'll crank that up right now so you can see how it looks. We're in a reasonably well lit room, so it's just going to increase the contrast. You're not going to see a huge amount of light glow out of this, but if we take this into a dark room, you will see the difference. And now we're in a room with absolutely no light on, just a little light coming through the doorway. And you can see we have it set to maximum, and it's very readable and very bright, and it's fairly evenly lit. And let's go into a book so you can see what a page looks like. Now you'll notice up here, see this little edge right here? It is a little bit brighter up there. Otherwise, it's fairly even and certainly very readable. And if we drop it down to, about halfway or so, you can see how it looks. So if you're worried about keeping somebody up in a room at night, it really doesn't illuminate a room that much. You don't have to worry about it. But even at 50% lighting, that's pretty darn good. The reader has a 6-inch Pearl e-ink display. That's the latest generation of e-ink technology. And it has a resolution of 800 by 600. Again, that's standard for a 6-inch reader. And it uses IR touch sensors, just like the Nook Simple Touch, the latest Sony reader PRS T1, and the Kindle Touch Edition. They all use the same thing. And there's little IR sensors around the edges that sense when you put your finger or any object over there. So there's no touchscreen overlay. So that means that you have good clarity, just like with the other touchscreen e-ink readers. This has 2 gigs of storage, again, just like the regular Nook Simple Touch. And only about 240 megs are available for use, which is very little. All the other space is saved for stuff you're going to download from B&N, or at least Barnes & Noble hopes that you will, buy books, magazines, newspapers, that kind of thing from them. So what's left to you is 240 megs. Doesn't sound like much, but ebooks are typically pretty small, so that's about enough for 100 ebooks. Now, if you're going to sideload your own PDFs, those, of course, can be larger, though I don't recommend 6-inch readers for reading PDFs unless they're pretty much text-based, because there's not a room to do PDF-style layout nicely on this screen, but you can always use the micro SD card and put bigger files like PDFs. This does not have a music player. It's your basic e-ink reader. It doesn't do any of those fancy things. It doesn't speak to you like some Kindles. There's no audio out. There is no audio in. There is no audio whatsoever on this guy. You will read in silence. For those of you who are following system software versions, this does run Android OS, and it's 1.1.5, and pretty much you have the same set of features that you have on the Nook Simple Touch. They haven't added anything new here. We'll go over the features here quickly for those of you who are still new to e-ink readers, so you can see what it's about. And so you can see we have a little bookmark symbol over here. If you want to bookmark a page, you just tap there to add a bookmark, tap again to remove the bookmark, swipe to turn. Swiping is quick, and you can see that it does not do a full refresh on every page, so you don't see that flash to black for every single page. You can potentially see some text ghosting as a result, but really on the Nook readers, I really haven't been bothered by the ghosting at all. So page turn speeds are fine. If you want to get to all your basic stuff, like navigate back home to your library, to get home, to shop, to search, GlowLight, and any further settings, you use a little Nook button right here and press that. Press it again, we'll dismiss it. And if you want to change things about the formatting, get information about what you're reading, just tap in the center of the page, not on the sides, because I can start a page turn going. So you can get to your table of contents, you can search for stuff inside of the book, you can go to a particular page number. You can also access any bookmarks that you've made. You can change your text size and your layout. You can either respect the layout of the document as it was originally laid out by the publisher, or you can change your margins, your line spacing, and you've got all these fonts to choose from here. So, nice selection of serif and sans serif fonts. And if you want to just go with publisher defaults, you just check that little box there, and it'll be set up just as the publisher intended. And you can see we've got many different sizes of text to choose from. I'm going with something relatively small. It's still very readable. It's pretty much the size of a paperback font. I know some of you, even though this has a touch screen, so you can just swipe or tap to change your page, hate to do that, so this has hardware page turn buttons on both sides. Just like with the Nook Simple Touch, they're pretty stiff, so you got to give them a good squeeze. Of course, the good thing about that is they probably will never wear out. The reader does have Wi-Fi, so you can actually download books directly from Barnes & Noble's ebook store. They have hidden away that web browser that you used to be able to get to using the search function and entering a URL in there, so no access now in the stock Nook to the web browser. But if you want to just go shop with B&N, there it is, and then there's their shopping interface. So you've got New York Times bestsellers, popular stuff, promotions that they have going are down here. And say we want to see the New York Times bestseller list. Just tap on it. Much easier to do for those of you who've been using non-touch screen e-ink readers. No more kind of muscling around or using a secondary touch screen like the original Nook had. It's just tap on whatever it is you're interested in. So let's take a look at this book right here. And you can get a free sample of pretty much any book that's available, so you can read the beginning of the book and see if you actually like it or not. And you can share it via social networking. You can, of course, buy it. You can add it to your wish list. You can look for related titles, read reviews of it. So shopping is pretty easy. You don't need to use your computer to do this. If you are using your computer and you're on the B&N website, and you're logged into your account, and you do buy a book, it'll automatically be sent to your Nook, so you don't have to do anything. Now in my library I have a mix of my own books and things that have come from B&N, and you can see I've got book covers and everything showing here. I usually use Calibre to process my EPUB books. You can use Calibre on your USB cable if you want. You can have it automatically sync books to the device, which is nice. And it'll even pull down some newspapers and magazines and stuff like that, ones that you don't have to pay for, and automatically transfer it to the device. It also acts as a very nice desktop library for those of you, an organizer, for those of you who have books from many sources. Again, this is an EPUB reader, so that means it works not just with the B&N bookstore books, it also works with Google Books, it works with Sony Reader books, Kobo Books, and other sites that use standard DRM EPUB books. It does not work with Amazon Kindle books. That is a totally different format, and Amazon does not share that with other manufacturers. No matter where you are, you see this top bar over here, and you can also tap to turn your GlowLight up here. You can see my Wi-Fi status, my battery, the time, and this little symbol here. This will take me right back to the book I was reading, last page that I was at, which is always handy. So you can go around, you can go to settings, you can shop, and then you want to jump right back into your book, you just tap that. And there we are, right back into the book again. Pretty handy stuff. You don't really need to turn off e-ink readers. They only use a little bit of power when you're changing the page, because they have to redraw the screen. So a screensaver comes on mostly so you don't get the same text kind of burned in there, though if you do a couple of page turns, it's going to refresh the screen. That'll go away. It just kind of looks nice. You get that screensaver. You can also put your own screensavers on here, or pictures. Dead Authors is the standard default selection that comes with it. But if you wish to turn it off, there is a power button on the back here, again just like the Nook Simple Touch without GlowLight, and you can use that to power it off. If you press and hold it, you can power it off completely. And if you just press it quickly like that, we go to our screensaver with our Dead Author. And one nice thing is you don't have to worry about, oh gee, I forgot I left that GlowLight on. Say you have the screensaver set to not come on for 15 minutes, or you're worried about it illuminating the screensaver. It doesn't do that. Once it shuts off, once it goes to the screensaver, either way, the backlight automatically turns off, so you're not going to be wasting power. So who's the Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight for? Those of you who read in less than ideal lighting conditions and you're getting tired of your book lights, having your light on at the nightstand, driving your partner in bed crazy when you want to stay up reading late and they can't stand that light being on from the book light, the lamp, whatever it is. If you're always reading at the beach or in great light, well, this doesn't really much matter to you. This product, you might as well just get the Nook Simple Touch. But for those of us who like to read at night, who don't have perfectly well illuminated houses, lots of sunlight streaming through the windows, this thing is just a godsend, I tell you. A lot of times I read in rooms that aren't really pitch black. You hate to turn the light on, waste electricity turning a light on just so you get a little more clarity. You turn the glow light on here, and like I said, just put it in a low level, like a quarter or a third of the way up, and it really amps that contrast and makes it much more readable. It's just great. And the nice thing is that the LED technology really consumes very little power. The only caveat that I've heard so far, now this hasn't happened to me, but the so-called screen protector, which again really is a diffuser, I've heard that it can damage more easily than your standard e-ink screen. So you don't want to be rough with the screen here. You don't want to scratch it with your fingernails. You probably want to carry it in a case, something like that, because otherwise, if it does get scratched, the light will glow out more strongly in that area. Barnes & Noble also says do not put your own screen protector on this, because I know that's what you were thinking. Well, I'll just put a screen protector on it to protect the display. They say that you shouldn't do that. It can actually cause problems, so, well, don't do that. Fortunately, there are myriad cases available for the Nook Simple Touch and the Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight. They both use the same cases. God knows, you go into any B&N and they probably have about 30 on display, and other companies are making some nice cases too. You can find them at Best Buy, all sorts of places. So that's the Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight. It's available now. not super duper available. Barnes & Noble released this at the beginning of May 2012, and they always seem to have problems with their new products actually getting them out on time after they announce them. So they announced this guy, and some pre-orders have shipped. It's 3 weeks later now, almost a month later, and the stores generally still don't have stock in them. But if you order it online, that's the way you're going to get it the quickest. Sooner or later, it probably will be in stock in all the stores, but for now, stick to online if you're in a hurry to get it. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the Nook Simple Touch with GlowLight, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.